It being 7:02, I will call the select board meeting for Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025 to order. First on the agenda is public comment.
Yep.
Next on the.
I don't,
Oh, public comment. Okay. You state your name and address, please.
Sure. Matthew Kobus, 395 Wilson Street. I speak today to offer my full and unwavering support for Select Board Chair Julie Cruz, who has come under recent and unfair scrutiny regarding her leadership during a time of transition within our community. The claim that she is inexperienced or unfit to lead could not be further from the truth. Julie has consistently demonstrated the highest standards of public service, which includes transparency, professionalism, respect, communication, and collaboration. These are not just desirable traits in an elected official, they are essential, and Julie embodies them fully. What makes her leadership particularly admirable is how she continues to uphold these values, even when others do not afford her the same professional courtesy. A striking example occurred during a joint meeting between the Select Board and Finance Committee when Julie was disrespected and told to shut her, she was asked to shut her mouth. A level of discourse that is unacceptable in any setting, let alone among public service. Despite this, she maintained her composure and continued to lead with grace and integrity. It is clear that there has been a concerted effort to undermine the current Select Board by spreading misinformation and sowing division. False narratives are not only misleading, but harmful to the fabric of our local government. Julie has never engaged in such conduct. On the contrary, she has worked to bring people together, to listen, and to lead thoughtfully through a challenging period. Leadership is not defined by how one acts when things are easy, but by how one conducts themselves when the environment is difficult. Julie's steady, principled leadership has been a critical asset to our town. I urge others to look past the noise and recognize her for what she is, a dedicated public servant doing a difficult job with integrity and heart. And this also goes forth for our human resources manager, Ray Aguirre. Ray's professionalism and his experience has also come under scrutiny several times over the last few months. Ray has been nothing short of professional, responsive, and leading with what he believes to be the utmost importance of the town's direction. But with that being said, I look forward to moving forward. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Library Director Marie Letarte with a building project update.
This is just, sort of like the first of many things I'll be handing out.
Thank you.
Only this second or third, many things I've already handed out to you, I'm not really sharing with mine. So this is just an update since I last updated you in June.
Madam Chairman, just for a second.
Sure.
We're going to have a review of minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Thanks, Mary.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 18th, 2025. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Sorry for the disruption.
No, that's okay. I was surprised. I'm like, I knew there's something.
I know.
I couldn't remember what it was.
Jeez, I wasn't expecting the whole comment.
So as you all know, this is just a reminder, the town submitted an application and was awarded a grant from the Commonwealth for a new or renovated library construction project. So this money has already been appropriated by the state and just waiting for Clinton residents and other towns to approve the local spending and the project. So since we last met in June, or since I last reported in June, we did meet with the permanent building committee, the architect, and the OPM, and various other people. And so the town is expected to submit what they call the public library construction project level design, somewhat like a schematic design for those of you who know building. It's not exactly, but it's similar. December 31st. Permanent Building Committee is aware of this tight timeline, and so they hired architects Johnson Roberts Associates and finalized the contract at the last meeting. So JRA and OPM gave an update to the PBC about what is happening. So Johnson Roberts is assessing the current building and its systems. And they will come to the next meeting of the Permanent Building Committee on the 23rd with their assessment, and they're reviewing the building program with me and with OPM about what we submitted and the space estimates and sort of fixing some things that were not exactly in sync as presented by the MBLC, confirming the space estimates and the programmatic needs, which were based on feedback from the community. They've also done an assessment of the Chestnut Street alternate site. And so in the future, after that meeting, there'll be the public input, feedback, needs, wants, and what's best for Clinton residents. Many more meetings. The PVC choosing of the site of a renovated or new library, and then presenting designs for public review. But that's just like an overview. There's lots more little details, but just figured I'd give you an overview. And as usual, as I've said before, you are welcome to come in and get a tour of the current facility if you'd like.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this in the past, but we still haven't seen anything as far as what the tax implications would be.
That because there is no estimate of the cost, it's hard to determine that. So like the school, which came up with that, like the March before the vote, we can't do that till we have the estimate. So when we submit, or the town submits the design to the state, December, then they come back and approve or disapprove or say, yeah, it's great. Then they have to give an estimate, and then the state has to approve the estimate. And then they come back with their saying, this is how much of this we will pay. And that comes out in March. So I don't want to throw at anything that is going to come back to haunt us. Right.
Okay.
So we're not quite at that point yet.
And so the funds you have right now will carry this through the process up until
To the
in the
vote,
spring.
yes, exactly. So that we won't be asking for more money in this planning and design stage, which is what's officially called, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in March, we'll probably have that estimate. In June is when we will bring it to town meeting
Yes.
to decide. Okay. Are there any other questions for Murray?
Okay.
Thank you for that update.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you for the opportunity.
Next up is town administrator's report.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Just for a couple of items for the board. Just wanted to announce that the deputy fire chief has resigned his position to take another position in the community. So he's been a longtime member of the department. Wanted to thank him for his service and inform the board. We also received a letter of retirement for the permitting clerk. She'll be retiring in the fall, so we'll have time to prepare for that transition. So again, Denora has been here for a long time, and thank her for her time and service to the town. Just wanted to give a follow-up from the last meeting that the email migration to Microsoft did take place on Monday. The IT the last couple of days been working out any glitches, and I think it went fairly smoothly. If any, I know the board members' emails were migrated as well. Having to kind of do some of the setup yourself might be a little difficult. So if there are any concerns, just can let me know, and we can put you in touch with somebody from All Covered that can help you out. Okay. I passed out on the table just something that I received this week from the Department of Veterans Services. They're doing kind of this new little document of a veterans community value sheet. So it's just some demographic data about veterans in Clinton, specific to Clinton. I think it's a new project that they had taken on. So I just wanted to get back to the board to review just for your own, for information. And then just an update that as the library project is in design, the middle school project is in construction. So once school ended, the equipment showed up and they are well on the way now to beginning that project. So. Thank you.
When I replied all to her email, I got an out of office from Joyce Cobracera's email address.
Yeah.
Is she officially
Yes,
no longer with the town?
yes, yep. So
Okay.
you give it a 2 weeks notice. Yep.
Is there any early plans to determine coverage, either temporary coverage or start looking for a replacement?
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I certainly would like to talk to the board, how you want to proceed, whether it's something that you wanted to go full out to advertise and hire now, or just to do temporary coverage until a new administrator is here. So going into the summer, it does get a little quieter in the office. So certainly, it can kind of manage for the time being, but certainly some help would be appreciated. So, yeah, so if you want to kind of think about it or discuss how you want to have HR start the recruitment process or just get something in temporarily, I'm open to either one.
Madam Chairman,
Mhm.
Mike, is there anybody that they could get from the tax incentive program?
We could take a look at that. Sure. Yep. Yep. I can contact the director. See if
I'm just thinking, for the phones or whatever,
Sure.
some coverage.
That's the big thing is
Makes it a lot easier for you. I mean, like you said,
right.
Even just aggregating, information.
Yep.
I mean, I would ask you, like, what you're saying, help would be great, but it's kind of slow. So to me, that's a little.
Yeah, help would be great, but if it's, in the temporary sense, it's going to be difficult to find somebody just to cover, certainly this is a good idea. I'll contact them, see if they have a senior tax rebate worker that's available and can at least help ease that. But, so, yeah. So.
Do you want to check in with Ray and see if he has any thoughts on a temporary assistance?
Sure.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what would be the direction of this board in the sense of leaving the position open until there's a new town administrator, or to have Mike move forward with finding a permanent replacement? Are we only looking for a temp or a fill-in, or should we tell him to pursue filling the job?
Well, I think given the turnaround time to find help, I would say my preference would be to start the hiring process. I don't know if it's a temporary solution until that can happen. We have one HR manager who's, I think, assisting with multiple rehires related to various town departments. So, just being realistic about how long it might take, but I would like to see it filled.
Should we start the hiring? Should the town administrator start the hiring process, or?
I guess if he's looking for, I was kind of throwing it back to him saying I think we should start the hiring process. I think we should look for a temp as well. That's my opinion.
Sure. I think you're right. I think just the timeline, it probably would take most of the summer anyway. So I think I'll talk to Ray and see what he would feel a timeline would be to get started. But to your point, there are a number of positions he's already working on already in some departments. So I actually have a meeting with him tomorrow morning, catching up from his vacation. So we'll discuss it in the morning. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
for consistency's sake, we did agree, the previous board agreed that we would hold off on the assistant town administrator to let the next town administrator pick their team. And so I guess, and I Mary, I appreciate the great idea because I didn't think of it. I was leaning more towards something temporary, seeing as it's the summer and it's a little more quiet. I mean, if it's an easy fix, then great, but I certainly wouldn't put this at the top of Ray's pile. If we can get somebody to answer the phones and move things around.
I
To let-
guess, yeah, that would be, is it just answer the phones? Is that
Yeah.
Joyce's scope of responsibilities was?
No, there's a lot more that she did, but I
Right.
think what the basic is right now needing somebody it's a busy office, so just the traffic. So the calls, the people coming in, licenses. So it's every time somebody comes to the door, then I have to stop what I'm doing to respond to that. So I think, there are things that certainly can be put on hold, but it's really the day-to-day traffic that's the biggest challenge right now. So,
Well, that was my only thought, that if you could get someone from the
Yep.
tax incentive program just to have a body there, so that, while the process is going on, it's obviously not a permanent fit, but I'm just saying that at least you've got someone there that you don't have to, as you said, jump up from your desk every time and if you're, doing other things and you're not in the office.
yeah,
Um,
that's the other thing. If I'm
know.
even down at another
Correct.
department or down around the building, then
Correct.
there's nobody there at all. Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Much like some of the other departments, will supplement help from within the building to cover as needed. Is there any opportunity for having someone be able to fill in on a temporary basis as far as even if it's periodically? Because I believe the Board of Health admin will help fill in for the clerk at times
Yeah, generally after her hours. Yeah.
after.
Yeah. 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 So even that, like in afternoons, like they're in the morning, maybe even the afternoon, she might be available. Sure. Yeah.
Trouble with that is that you've got people on vacation all summer long, typically.
Mm.
People are taking vacation, so that kind of puts a damper on it as well.
Right.
Yeah,
Whatever, I mean, any means that you can get someone.
Yeah.
Because you obviously need somebody in that position.
I would echo what Sean had mentioned about picking their own team, but
To be clear, it should be filled as soon as possible. And I think we have a skeleton of a plan, whether it's the senior rebate program or talking to Ray about getting a temp in here. We should get somebody in there as soon as we can.
Right.
As far as something permanent, again, I wouldn't make that the hugest priority right now. That's just me.
Maybe we can start with, do we have like an updated job description? Can we
Sure,
do
yep.
some of the administrative things so that, are not, we can prepare for that if that's the path forward. Okay. Next up is administrative business.
actually,
Yeah.
can I
Yeah.
throw one more thing out there?
For sure.
So then as far as the permanent clerk, when will that be posted or?
That's another issue as well too, that I'll talk to Ray tomorrow about as well. The building commissioner came up today to talk about it. So,
Okay.
yeah, she's here into the fall, so there's still time, but still to be able to work that into a recruitment timeline as well. And that position is also a, town administrator hire in conjunction with the department head as well too. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Administrative business. 1-day liquor license. Clinton Turn Farin is requesting 1-day liquor license for, did we do this?
I thought we did.
Yeah,
Maybe we only did it for.
I think we did just July, the July.
okay,
August one.
okay. 1-day liquor license for a number of events being held in their outdoor pavilion during the months of July and August 2025.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the requested 1-day liquor license for Clinton Turner Hall's outdoor pavilion for the months of July and August 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Madam Chairman,
Yeah.
before we go into old and new, and this is old and new, but it's not on there, but, it came to mind to me after I realized that the agenda had closed, but, I did check and I guess you could still do it and move on, is the, Booster Club is having their annual golf tournament on the 14th of July, and I know last year we made a contribution of $500. And I would like to move that we do the same this year for the Golf Day Booster Club.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0.
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
under old and new business,
okay.
if that's where we are, I had previously, when I joined the board, sent a list of initiatives I'd like to at least have board discussion on. I'm asking that at the next agenda, if there's space available, that a consideration of or a discussion on you having a select board member part of the labor negotiating team. And again, if there's time available on the agenda, a discussion about initiating or at the start of the meeting, standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay. We'll add that to the next agenda. Okay, annual fiscal year 2025 department transfers. The town accountant has developed a list of departmental transfers for review by the select board and finance committee.
Yes, Madam Chair, there are a list of the spreadsheet with the different departmental transfers, and then there's two reserve fund transfers to also use up some funding in that line item as well. So these were prepared by the accountant that provided to me today.
OT. What is OT?
Yes, the
Overtime.
board will need to approve the transfers and the finance committee. They have to be voted by the board and confirmed by the finance committee. I believe the meeting next week, I believe.
Madam Chair,
Mm-hmm.
I move that we approve the year-end transfers for FY 2025 as listed on the town accountant's form.
I'll second that.
Does that include these requests for transfers from the reserve fund? Or are these separate?
Oops.
Yeah, I think you could do them together.
I just had a question about them.
Toby.
We've got year-end transfers here and we got year fund, so I don't see that on here, so. Did we lose that thing about the condos on Water Street?
Sorry.
We lost the court thing about the Water Street condos or apartments?
Yes, lost the lawsuit to hold their bid. So we were holding their bid deposit
Uh-huh.
based on them backing out of the deal. And they brought it to court and we did lose, yeah, so.
Did they, because I'm curious, did they say why? I mean, like, it was made clear that
Right, no, and that's what it was. It was made clear in the auction that it is and what it is. But the court said that there are some concerns with the title and because they're going to be sold, you can only use them as a block. You can't sell them individually. And that's what people knew going in. But they made the argument to the court that because of that difficulty with the title, and the court said that they felt that we shouldn't keep it was a large sum of money for the town to keep, and knowing that there were issues there. Again, the auction was buyer beware, but hopefully do not.
thanks for the clarification.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the town is now losing money as long as we those are under our supervision as far as we can only regain the back taxes, correct?
Right.
So then all the legal fees and all the insurance and everything that we've had to carry on that since then, we're out of pocket for.
Right.
So the best case is there interest on what is owed for back taxes?
Oh, yeah, that's gaining interest all the time. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then do we have a next step? For that, I don't want to get side.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just curious.
Yeah, not currently. The next step would either to try another auction. The preferable way would be to try to condoize the units and then to go forward. Town council has been working in order to create a condo association, we need the private owners to support that as well. And currently, we don't have that support. So the town council has been working with the attorney on one of the unit owners and trying to come up with a proposal that everybody would support in order to go to the court and getting a plan to make them all condos. And we thought there was a plan out there. Several of the unit owners had signed off, but one did not. So he's still, town council is still trying to pursue that avenue. And beyond that, the only other is to try to do another auction, buyer take all auction like we did before and see if somebody would come in to buy them as rental units. So.
Okay, there's a motion on the table. It's been seconded. Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, so as far as with these year-end transfers, so based upon the FY 25 budget requests, these would be funds that were requested, but the actual disbursement came in under what had been requested.
Right, exactly, yeah. So the ones that they're transfer from would be line items that weren't being spent. And then the transfer to are other areas where they were, where there was some shortfall. So most of them are within departments. Sometimes there may be a need if a department didn't have another line item to cover, that it would come from a different department. But most of them are within their own departments.
It's just basically an internal transfer of money.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just thinking about it from like creating the budget side of it where, it looks like you could be a little more lean in some areas than we are. I know it's not an easy one size fits all, but that's just kind of my initial.
Right, yeah, and certainly, I still a proponent of having more detailed budgets so everyone knows where the money's going. But the other alternative would be at town meeting, the vote at town meeting could be a collapsed budget. So that you have just maybe 4 or 5 general categories, and then that gives the ability to move money within that budget easier. You still would have the proposed budget as to what they're asking for all the detail for. But when it's actually approved, then probably a lot of these internal transfers would not be needed because they can do it themselves.
That's been talked about so many years.
Right.
I mean, that really was the way to go a long time ago.
Madam Chair, if I just make comment on that.
Sure.
I thought that was something maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, DOR gave us an audit or a review of our finances, and that was one of their big advisories is that we should condense the line items. Not so much for the detail of the budget process, but for town meeting approval, so that there was a little more room to maneuver in the budget.
They had more flexibility.
And
Yeah.
at the school department, which is half the budget, there's actually only one line item. The school committee has the authority to transfer between their 7 major budgets, but the superintendent has total control otherwise of shifting money from one account to the other. And I think it's a much more streamlined process than dealing with this and having department heads dealing with this every year.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly, something that should be brought up in the budget process.
Yeah.
But for tonight, I guess,
Yeah.
let's say. Move on with that.
Okay.
Well, while we're on this, sorry, I just noticed that we're on the hook. I'm not, health insurance I'm not worried about, but we took 36.5 out of the assistant town administrator salary for miscellaneous and the administrative assistant. Can we explain that? I don't see a miscellaneous on our budget from 25.
For select board?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a miscellaneous expense line item. It should be.
What's it? Are you seeing it? Let's see.
It,
Do I blow it up?
I can't see.
Right, I don't see it.
There's always been a miscellaneous
That's-
administrators.
Share was-
Maybe it's not in select board.
Is it town administrator? Salary.
Select board expenses?
Yeah.
Expenses, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
the
expenses
other
would
20,
cancel it.
so we doubled that. So what was that for?
I think generally this is, there's still another warrant going in for the end of the year. So the accountant will put funding in that line item if there's something that was missed for another department. So,
And the administrative assistant was 16.5?
right, that was for the payout, the,
Oh,
Terminated
vacation
payouts.
things. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Next up is an update on the ARPA projects.
So I did, on the table there, so I mentioned I did provide a spreadsheet. There have been a couple of projects since the last update that were completed, the town hall floor replacement and the Blues radio upgrade. The remainder of the projects are still ongoing. Mr. Duffy is here to talk about different projects under his office, which I think are five of them that he's going to speak to. There are also a number of for the facility director. I know those are in process for this construction season, like the tennis courts and the skate park, the town hall, the fire department doors. I believe those have been ordered. The paramedic equipment and fly car, those are in delivery. I think the chief said those are coming in this next couple weeks, that those should be delivered. We're finalizing the changeover for that bunch of software, so it'll be ready for the new fiscal year. The cyber upgrades are still in place. We have the email migration is done, the workstations are being rolled out, and the next step is they're going to be bringing in the IP phones, the voice over IP telephone. So that should be done this summer, that project. Like I said, skate park is, I know the equipment has been ordered. I'm not sure if it's been installed. The school chiller, I know they're trying to do that project this summer to finish, but 2 schools, the elementary and the high school. And now that the auditorium floor is done, now the facility director is looking to get the equipment that was approved under the chairs and other election equipment under that line item. Tennis courts, I know he was talking with them last week, that he's been working with the contractor on those. And the garage doors, I know those were getting ready to be installed. The water line is in. It's probably about 80 and 90% done. They just have to tie in the services because they're abandoning the old water main. So the services that go up the hill, some of those houses, those have to be tied into the new line, and the road resurfacing The contract has been signed, but they haven't started doing any work on that yet. So,
Just on the auditorium chairs, I know I talked to Brian, and he's having them send 2 different types of chairs to take a look at to see which would be more viable for the town hall. I mean, because obviously we don't want to have something that's going to scrape the floor every time they put them up and take them down, so I'll have to check with them to see if those ever came in, so the board could look at them.
Do you want to add anything?
Good evening. Mike reached out to me to let me know that you guys wanted an update. So I've pretty much written out in summary form. I'm happy to go through the list or answer any questions. I don't know if you want me to elaborate or how we want to go. Should I just start at the top?
Yes.
Okay. So I have, I think, 5 programs that are in my office that involve unexpended ARPA funds that were put under agreement prior to December 31st. First is the ARPA downtown contract with the downtown coordinator, downtown consultant, excuse me. You can see our committed funds, our expended funds, and the funds that have been expended since the start of the year after the close of the first ARPA period. Effectively, we're right on track with our spending. We have about 1.5 years worth of budget based on historical use of funds, and we have about 1.5 years worth of time. Since the first of the year, we became TikTok stars. I don't know if any of you guys saw that.
I did see that.
That's what I'm skipping.
But I've given an outline of the work that the downtown consultant, excuse me, has been primarily working on since the beginning of the year. Coming into the summer, one thing that will be moving is 2 things. Learned in that the budget that state earmark for $25,000 in a mural program was approved. So we'll begin assembling the kind of public participation on that right away. And money has to be spent in a year. So we'll be looking to do some more beautification of downtown through murals. And Lee will be the point person on that, as she was for the Depot Square mural. Also working with the chamber and the police department, Chief Coyne, we're getting to some more involved outreach to stakeholders and residents and downtown employees, working with Steve Meyer as well, to try to basically introduce greater efficiency into our downtown parking. As you know, the police department budget included a part-time parking clerk, which is fantastic. We'll be also looking to some education, letting business owners and property owners know about where parking that isn't enforced, long-term parking, is located, and improving signage primarily to direct people to the Church Street lot. And Lee will be primarily writing point on that, although I have a lot of input on that only because of my decade of experience in downtown parking and solutions. The next one is our LED signage. The sign bids were delivered to the town. They're being stored at the DPW barn. Along with the boards comes training in the software that programs the boards. That training probably should be taking I've always figured that would be someone under the town administrator's direction. But with the assistant town administrator leaving and Mike's contract coming to his termination, no one has signed up for that. I don't think it should be me. I think it should be somebody whose position in the town, contact other departments, is more global than the Community and Economic Development Office. But that training will have to be undertaken, and it's online training. For what it's worth. I spoke with the fabricator this week. He expects to have the signs completed likely in September. We are working on the structural design for the footings, concrete footings, and the bolt pattern, and just having an engineer verify that the welds are structurally sound and will hold up to all the forces that'll be on these signs. And so what may be a holdup beyond September for installation is National Grid's engineering. We are likely going to be, we are going to be moving the sign that was originally approved for the middle school location. Had a conversation with the superintendent a couple months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. The school, the architects and the OPM feel strongly that the middle school needs its own dedicated sign. And I understand, because now the school will be located behind a copse of trees. You will not be visible from West Boylston Street, and someone driving down the street would not know that this driveway goes to the middle school in the absence of a conspicuous sign. So they'll be putting their own sign in, LED signage. And if it's possible, we will coordinate the spec on their sign that goes out in the construction, in the school building package. Oh, I guess they already have filed subbids. So that if they're similar in size or in the make, sharing messages will be simpler. Although it's not the end of the world if it's different, particularly in size. So I'm going to be coming to you at sometime shortly after looking more intently at 2 possible locations for that sign. One would be up along West Boylston Street, but on the other side of the street, up near the soccer fields. Effectively, that's a very constrained site for location of an electrical fixture because of the crisscrossing of high voltage power lines, the high ones overhead that go over between the schools. And according to the electrician on the playing field side of the West Boylston Street, am I boring you? Am I getting into too much detail? There's a 300-volt line that's carried on the poles up there. Presumably it goes to the sludge treatment plant. We have to maintain a separation distance from those lines. And on that side of the street, by the time we're far enough away from the lines, we're also down about 8 or 9 feet down the slope. Out by the soccer fields, you're on the outside edge of the bend, so cars coming both directions can have a decent sight line. It's not a very noble spot for a sign. Steve asked about putting it by the high school, but because of the eastbound traffic, you really come right around the bend. You know, you come past those trees, then there's the practice softball field, and then you're right on top of the sign. So it's not really an effective location for a sign. Visual distance is not great, but it is good on the other side. The other possible location is down near the depot. We own a small sliver of land on the, Gallery 626 is. We actually own a sliver of land on the other side of that roadway. I think that's a very good location, but I need to do a little more research into the electrical service. I think the service on that stretch of Sterling Street is underground. So we need to get the electrician in there to take a look. There is one line, the power line comes over, but it seems to hit just one street light in Depot Square. Might not have the load. So we need to do a little more work on that. But it's your next meeting no? If not, I won't be here at your next meeting. Hopefully in the meeting following, I'll be coming back to you with a recommendation for where we can locate that sign.
Where's the other sign
Yeah.
gonna be?
At the fire station,
Fire station.
the little area they call
So
it.
that's definite.
Yes. And what I'd like to do before we actually locate it dead on is actually mock up, they're 4x8 signs, is to mock up a sheet of plywood on some struts and just put it there, particularly at that location, to make sure that it's to the greatest extent possible, visible and conspicuous, but not an obstruction to people driving and coming down Church Road. So we'll do that in both sites to make sure we optimize the placement of the sign. Okay. The Growth and Recovery Program. We are on track for that. There are 2 projects post January 1st that were included in that project. One project, as you see, is under construction now. Received the first invoice a week ago, and I will be going down to inspect the work and make sure and submit payment in the next warrant. The other project is on track. The target property was purchased. I've been in touch with the owner. They expect to be in construction either late this year, early 26, and open in August of 2026. The funds that we provided are for exterior construction furnishing, so I think there's no scenario where we won't make that purchase, even if they're not installed and in place, if there's some delay in construction.
Just on that one, so is the building commissioner involved in the site visit as well? I was under the impression that the building, at the time the building agent was also had to look to see, make sure that the work was done.
No, I wasn't thinking that. I was mostly going to check to see that it was there. Presumably they have their own sign-offs they have to do with the building department on this
Okay.
work anyway. But yeah, no, I just want to make sure that it's in place and that the work has been stored and what's been built is completed.
Okay.
So next is the Strand. We have not spent any money on the Strand without divulging stuff that I'm not really at liberty to say or where my understanding is incomplete. The owner has been receiving what seem like authentic offers, short of my understanding of the proposer's financial situation, both for lease and for sale. And I am hopeful that these funds will be expended. But I really can't say more at this juncture. I hope in a month to be able to say.
Is that committee still meeting at all, like the subcommittee?
We had a meeting, Mary Rose, about 2 months ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there's been nothing to talk about it, but once one of these offers is at the finish line, we will meet again, and we'll meet with the person who is ultimately going to be the operator of the Strand. I have been in touch with every interested party, but it's premature to convey anything right now. And then finally, the weed project. Yeah, earlier this year, United Way announced that they were delaying construction until June of 2026. There is a shortfall in their total project funding. They are planning to fundraise and make other appeals to state agencies to close that. I don't know at this juncture how close they are to filling that gap or modifying the project to bring it into conformance with the budget. But right now, there's a gap that where they don't feel comfortable proceeding, and I understand that. So those funds we put them forward in good faith. We have every good faith hope that they will be expended, but whether there are other factors at play that were not apparent when we made this commitment that have come in more in focus. So
Just a question on that, Phil. Does it look as though that's a more of a positive that it will happen or more of a negative that it's not going to because of the funding?
I think right now we don't know. I think we don't know. They have the clock hasn't run out, but they're not where they thought they would be in terms of funding at this point, at this stage.
But I thought when they originally came in and asked for that money, that they were very, very close to their obligation as far as being able to start the project and stuff. Do you know what happened? Did someone
I don't.
pull away from that? Oh, is there any way for us to get any information?
I can certainly inquire. You know, I've been kept apprised of what's going on, but I haven't pushed back to say why is this number changed.
Because I know over this period of time, I have asked the question many times, where is that development? And it always seemed like, oh, it's right on course and, but that's again, $500,000 that we committed, that would be a shame if that didn't,
It would be a shame. It would be a shame.
that's a shame.
No, it's not their intent to leave us high and dry. It's
No, I know that, but it seemed from the very beginning that they were so close that, our 500,000 was gonna put them pretty close to the top, so.
Yep.
That's a little disappointing.
I agree. But it's
Just a thought.
It's what we have to deal with, and if there's something that we can do,
Mhm.
we put in a small grant application for them. I don't know if it'll be successful to try to help their cause, but
Well, I'd just be curious, I mean, from the town's perspective, how far are they away from a financial situation to actually get this off the ground? I mean, is it a realistic amount that they think they can make, or is it something that,
the president of United Way is expressing confidence, but it's not a small number.
I'm sorry?
It's not a small number. And again, I don't know that I can convey that to you in a public meeting, but there's a gap.
I mean, if it's modifying the project, you know, so I know, you can't see that happen.
And just, the funds need to be spent by,
December
Most
31st,
funds.
2026.
We gave them the funds.
yeah.
We've committed the funds, yes. They're sitting in our account, but they're committed. And they cannot be reprogrammed at this stage.
The deadline,
Repurpose them.
the deadline to have this
On, yeah.
gone is 26th, right?
Yes,
The end of,
Like-
December 31st, 1926. I mean,
2026,
2026.
yes. So another year and a half, effectively.
Hmm.
If they're in construction, that won't be a problem, but
Mhm.
they have to get into construction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one thing under old and new business. I remember the board had approved the traffic committee's recommendation of making High Street at 25 miles per hour.
Yes.
And I believe there was supposed to be signage that was gonna be put up. I haven't seen any, so I just wanted to check in on that.
I'll tell you what, I have seen that on High Street. There's a lot of going down and making a U-ey right in the
100%.
middle of the street, and it's so dangerous.
U-turn and then the backing into the parking spaces.
I've never seen as much as it has been,
Yeah.
so. I guess what I'm suggesting, maybe we should have a few more, or for a time being, maybe, excuse me, more of, police presence on High Street. Cause it is getting really bad.
Well, the chief did offer to have some kind of super friends meeting, about parking. You know, I don't know if we want to wait for the new clerk to start, but, I thought that was a great idea just to get all the shareholders on board.
The parking meeting. They
Did the
have,
chief?
they have met,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Was somebody from this board there?
I was.
Oh, then we're fine.
And then I think that Phil mentioned it was like, I think to get an understanding of like what some of the pain points are that were, based on the feedback from, I guess, business owners and the chamber. So I think the chamber sent out a survey. They had a community listening session. So, I guess I don't know if I would call them like a super friends committee, but they've tried to move on that feedback. And then with the anticipation of the parking enforcement officer,
For clarification, the day is the police.
sorry, the small group, so the police department, two representatives of the police department, superintendent of schools,
Yep.
based on the parking related to the municipal lot that's adjacent to the school, the downtown consultant,
Mhm.
representatives from the chamber. I was there. And they were just kind of like, let's put it on the table, like, what are some of the pain points? And then they, from that meeting, had a community listening session. And I think are hoping to try and continue with what's the feedback? What are some things we can do? Are there policy changes that might benefit this? I do think that there were minutes and notes circulated, so I can definitely forward them along to everyone. But there haven't been necessarily like any recommendations, I think, at the moment.
Gotcha.
Kind of like a discovery phase, I guess I would call it. To try and, I mean, I think parking, traffic, anywhere in that area kind of keeps I don't know if it'll ever be solved, but if we can make some tweaks here and there based on recommendations and try to make it a easier place to park for all. Next up is summer meeting schedule. I personally might have trouble with the next meeting date, which if I have to miss, then
Well, Madam
that's
Chairman,
fine. Yeah,
my suggestion would be, and I know this was done many, many years, that we would just meet when the administrator would say to us, you know, we have business that we need to attend to. And that we went into basically a summer schedule for the month of July and August. I don't know how the board feels about it. I mean, I don't know that after town meeting, there usually isn't a lot of issues that come up, but certainly if there are, you know.
Yeah, I would think just as
Right.
long as the warrants get signed.
Yeah.
In a timely manner.
Yeah.
I think there's 5 Wednesdays in July.
Yeah.
In August. I guess I just want to kind of keep moving with any personnel issues. That would be my only concern, but.
But that, I
we can
mean,
certainly
that's
move
something
the
that if, as they're advancing,
Yeah.
and
we
there's
could
a
maybe
need
do
to,
it.
and there's a need to
As-
call a meeting, I mean,
Okay.
I mean, that's just my
Okay.
suggestion. I mean,
Yeah,
rather than because of the fact that people were taking vacations and,
yeah.
When
I mean, we can
the
keep,
interviews for the
the-
initial interviews,
14th
say the 14th.
to 15th.
I mean, I would like to meet shortly after. Would we have any need to meet after that?
I mean, I think the 16 might be tight, but.
Yeah, I agreed.
Um,
Like, do we want to
Like,
have something tentatively for the 23rd?
yeah.
Sean, were
You
you
have
gonna be
the
unavailable?
Conservation.
Conservation, what time?
6. I don't know what's in the, it's a Zoom, but I just don't know what's on the agenda.
Okay.
So we could always do,
I mean, I can join in progress
Yeah.
or if they have quorum, they could go without me.
Does that ever happen?
We've been on a hot streak so far,
Oh, that's good.
other than our absentee member.
Okay. Well, all right, let's consider the 23rd a tentative date versus the 16th, which would be the 3rd. So let's technically the 4th. Assuming that works for everybody. Does that?
Yeah.
Work for everybody?
and then do you want to just wait till that date if we need to meet again in August? or
Yeah.
Just leave it open-ended?
That's what I would do.
Yeah. Sounds good. Does that work for everybody?
Works fine for me.
Great. Okay. Thank you for your flexibility. Next up is committee reports. I had one, the school superintendent office reached out about the CMS building committee representatives from the select board, which are Matt and Mary Rose. And Matt, you've confirmed your interest in continuing as our representative. Mary, I don't.
Yeah,
your
no,
email has been-
I talked to Kelly Parker to let her know that I know Bill is involved from being on the school committee, so I told her I had no problem in stepping down to allow Bill, because you can't have 3 members, so, because I know Matt wanted to stay on and Bill's involved, so,
Okay.
so I have no problem stepping down, so.
Okay. So you've already told Kelly Parker that you're stepping
Yeah,
down?
I told her that I would, yeah, I saw Kelly, so I told her that I would.
The problem we have is that I'm a member of the building committee too, so if all
Right.
3 of us showed up, it's a quorum of the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
Um,
And I know
So-
you had the participation, so I have no problem stepping back.
And I appreciate that, Mary Rose, but I'd also like to ask to be the select board representative so that when I leave the school board, I don't lose that position, if you follow me.
I would move that we keep Bill on.
Okay,
If
so-
he does.
Yeah, if you want to step back and,
And
know,
I just
you
want
want-
to shift chairs from the school committee to the Board
Yeah.
of Selectmen.
So I would move, Madam Chairman, that Bill, if he does step down from the school committee, that he would be our second member from the Board of Selectmen on the building committee.
I'll second that.
okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Rose.
Yeah. Any other committee reports? Okay. I don't think we have any community announcements. Oh, wait.
Fireworks?
Yeah, oh, no. The Clinton Fire Department is holding their annual fireworks display on Saturday, July 12th.
Yes.
I don't know the time. So
we
let's
got
see the
9
date.
p.m.
9 p.m. Okay. They are typically raising funds for that, and I will look up that information. I'll share it on the Town of Clinton social media page. For those of you who may have not gotten the letter, but if you enjoy the fireworks display, please consider making a contribution to assist with this community event.
While we're on there, Madam Chair, I'm seeing that the townwide yard sale is that day also. If you want to reach out to Parks and Rec, I know they have maps and opportunities to get your house on the list or something in the park. And speaking of the park, we keep getting
You're talking about the bands?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad weather is ruining our ratings here because everyone's at the park watching the concerts. But those are usually on Tuesday nights, so I encourage everyone. It's a great time when the weather cooperates. Both of those are Parks and Rec things. Please check them out.
Great. Okay. Next, we will be moving from open session to closed executive session to discuss Article 3 Police Union Negotiation Update. We will not be returning to open session. I will accept a roll call to go into executive session.
Bill Conley, aye.
Sean Kerrigan, aye.
Julie Bruce, aye.
Matt Phobos, aye.
Mary Dick, aye.